The wrongs that's going on there in the, you could almost call that area of the Middle East as sort of the birthplace of the world. I mean, uh, Jewish faith, Christian faith, even the Muslim faith, all sprang from that area. And the fear and hatred between the religions is so blown out of proportion to if you look at it, you wonder how in the world did religions get so blown out of proportion that it's not even religion anymore. It's almost hatred.
I would say it absolutely is hatred, one for the other, in many cases. Perception goes all the way back to you whisper one thing in someone's ear, and by the time it gets all the way around the circle, it's something completely different.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with everything. And people, I mean, it's just perception and the way somebody picks it up and carries it and decides what it means and then fights for it. Yep.
Yep. It goes all the way back to Alexander the Great. Went to the Middle East and defaced and destroyed all sorts of architecture and art. All the statues, you knock a nose off of them, destroy them, in other words, but because of his faith, I think it was wrong. And anyone of sound mind would almost think that. But and it's going forward right now. In my lifetime, Beirut, Lebanon has been a beautiful city just turned to rubble. What's happening in Israel now, the destruction is just, well, the hatred that's been developed into destruction of mankind almost, turning everything to rubble.
Humans are good at destroying themselves.
Pardon?
Humans are good at destroying themselves.
Yes.
I mean, across the board, one way or the other. We are our worst enemy. We destroy ourselves individually and collectively.
Yeah. I think we're doing something right here in the United States right now. This government shutdown is really the first step in the destruction of this nation. Uh, Two political parties that just won't do what must be done in Washington, D.C. And that's agreeing on something and pushing the nation forward. Instead, we just got conflict. Not using the guns, but we can destroy the nation just as well with government shutdown and economic failure. And we headed toward it if we don't end the government shutdown and get on with making America great. When a representative or senator is elected, why can't he go to Washington as a God-fearing American and leave Republican at home, leave Democrat at home, and go try to serve the nation instead of going to Washington with a big banner in your hand saying I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican, That doesn't, it really can't work for a good government.
Yeah, they need a common denominator.
Huh?
They need a common denominator, and they at this point, I just don't see it. Unfortunately, one common denominator that does see people's perception of one another, you can take it all the way back to the riverbanks when they flood, they all become humans all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And everybody's reaching for everybody's hand to pull them out of the river. It doesn't matter who you are. And unfortunately, catastrophes are a lot of times what it takes for people to realize, hey, we need to pull together in these moments. And if it works in those moments, it should work in all moments, in my opinion. Not just when there's catastrophes. But that's a continuum. Has been and will be.
Yeah.
Mankind just doesn't get it right.
Pardon?
Mankind just doesn't get it right.
No.
Never have.
Now the days of primitive weapons is gone. When we're using lances and bow and arrows, you could impose your will on your enemy, and the infrastructure or the architecture and so forth was saved. But now we just, with the advent of stronger weapons, we're just destroying the earth. The destruction I have seen largely off the TV of what has happened in Beirut, all over Israel and former Palestine. It's all destroyed. Damascus, Syria was one of the most beautiful cities of architecture I think I've ever seen. I never will forget having a traditional Syrian meal in one of the finest hotels that I think I've ever seen. And it was built in the 13 and 1400s. Probably one of the darkest periods in world history. What a gorgeous, gorgeous place. And I saw on the TV, it turned to rubble. I remember Beirut when it was gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous city. Now it's just rubble. And mankind's big weapons is what's done it. Used to do the fighting with bow and arrow. They didn't destroy very much of what the world has worked for. But when you start unleashing high-powered artillery and rockets and missiles, destroy everything. And it's done greatly in the name of religion. Muslims against Jews. And when we look at the Bible zone, I would call it, the Quran, based on that area, the Old Testament and New Testament, based on that area, and several different nationalities have based their religion on these areas, or the same area. why they can't draw a peace treaty between faiths. I don't have the answer. I don't. I thought so much about it. Why can't we say, okay, Muslims, we're like here, we're like there. We need to be pulling together instead of pulling apart. I don't know how you sell that. We look back at long-term history. Different religions have caused a lot of destruction. Right here in the United States, the early Christians come in, destroying the savages, kill thousands of Native Americans in the name of we've got to conquer and build a church here. And it sometimes don't make a lot of sense.
So you mentioned the troops. Let's talk about that because the president has now said he's ordering Secretary Hegseth to find Pentagon money to pay this week so that none of our active duty folks will miss. And I think all Americans agree that that is a
Be interesting if we knew more about Lady Birdsong's ancestors.
Yep.
Be interesting to have their take.
Politico reports this, that the presiding Republican, Representative Mike Boston, Illinois, gavelled a brief pro forma session to a close before Representative Sarah McElrath, she is the Democrat, trying to do this from Maryland, could make a procedural move to try to pass the legislation by unanimous consent. Politico says Congressman Boston was working for guidance, so why not allow this internal pressure for troops?
That side of history really wasn't written down anywhere. So the Native Americans didn't have the knowledge or the infrastructure to make great recordings. So we got whatever the Europeans thought and recorded is all we got to go on.
Or we saw what Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said about this is getting better for them every day. I want to play a little bit of what he said about why you guys are going to get blamed for this.
And the stories that some of the that have been passed down and told to generation, you do have some stories that filter through.
Well, the thing about the rounding up of the natives and shipping them out to the desert countries where there's nothing really, and calling it a reservation.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the desert where there's nothing.
Real compassionate, huh?
Yep. To the natives that were used to basically making their living off of the waterways. That's where the good forests were, where the good deer were, the good turkey, where they could really grow crops, where they could grow their corn and or maize. And
Beaver was a big trade around the Michigan lakes.
oh yeah, let's face it, leather built the United States. The destruction of the buffalo, almost total destruction. We saved enough of them that we still have a pittance of the American bison, but we destroyed thousands upon thousands of them for their skin. Leather built the horse tack to pull wagons, stagecoaches, heavy dredges, to make the clothing, shoes, even the hinges on most of the early homes were made of heavy, thick leather. No.
I didn't know that.
Yep, before they had steel, cut big, wide strips of leather and nail it on either side and
Yeah. Makes
get
sense.
hinges.
Yeah.
Of course, thicker the leather was, the better hinges you had.
Mm-hmm.
And the buffalo had this big, thick hide, so what the Europeans call progress was devastation to the natives. Taking their very food to get the skin to build more. And largely in the name of Christ. We're going to take these savages and turn them into Christians. Ones we don't kill. Can you imagine having your home on the East Coast over in Georgia, being rounded up and marched to Oklahoma and put in the desert somewhere? How many died on march over? For everything from lack of water to dysentery to food starvation.
And so most of the ads your opponent is running, talking about you being MAGA, not meaning that in a positive sense of the word, but tying you to President Trump, saying you're a rubber stamp for him. But you don't have his endorsements. So what does that mean in Virginia? Well, it means we're going to keep working in Virginia. I know.
Yes, society's done a lot of things in the name of progress that was actually very destructive to mankind.
Getting that kind of largesse, we've just announced, for example, Eli Lilly is coming to Virginia. They had 400
26 other states, and they chose, wait for it, Virginia. And what was one of the reasons? Because they said they saw so many other businesses moving here. And it's because we have a great environment. They know that they will thrive here. They know that we won't force their employees to join a union against their will. And for me, that's a liberty issue. Not simply pro-worker. And then, of course, we have side paths ready for them to build.
Yeah, mankind has made
Maybe they don't. And then we have a good
some
business
awful errors
well, we're going to keep getting rid of all the
in the
regulations.
development of the world.
We've gotten rid of 91,000 different regulations that did nothing for businesses.
So let's talk about the employment situation here in Virginia
Wow.
because the truth is a lot of federal jobs, a lot of federal workers live in Northern Virginia and throughout the Commonwealth. They've lost their jobs because of
Now we went through
your opponent has pointed to that. She said this that my opponent,
the
Senator Earl Sears, has defended Trump's
progressive days of the Hittites that we know very little about. Thought to be similar to the time of Moses, maybe a little before. Then we went through the rise of the Roman Empire that brought about a lot of good architecture and slowly the Roman Empire dissolved or was degraded, largely due to being taken over by the peasants. Peasants wanted to live as well as the rich Romans and really sort of put the world in dark ages for a couple of centuries. We slowly came out of it. And I started with the Romans. I should have started with the Greeks. Greeks did a lot of good architecture and early forms of government. But they also believe in all these false prophets and false gods. God of fire, God of wind, and just about a god of everything. And of course the Romans put them down. And then we went through the dark ages where there's not much done after about 500 AD. To 13 or 1400 AD. And we started blooming of what we call modern society this day and time.
To Virginia, they wouldn't help. So she needs to go and talk to her friends there because it's Democrats who sit on that board. And so ask them.
I think,
Is this a political game that you're playing?
can't prove it,
People in Northern Virginia's lives.
but when we look at the days of the Hittites, the days of Greek control of what we knew of the world, the days of the Romans, then there's a long dark age, so we until the Europeans discovered the New World, which is the Western Hemisphere. Now, in the Western Hemisphere, how many centuries had the natives been here? Very little history written about them because we didn't have typewriters or ballpoint pens to record it all. But we know of the era of the Hittites, the Greeks, the Romans, and I hate to say it, but and the Americas. We know of four societies that have flourished and made the world great. And I'm not sure we can't go back to the Dark Ages with the current day weapons that they're building. Fission devices could well put us in the Dark Ages. And the old fusion devices that were dropped on Japan a long time ago went away. The modern day fission devices could be launched by almost any country now. And you pump one of those at 10,000 feet up. And don't kill a lot of people, but it destroys all of our electronic devices. I mean, radio, TV, cameras, and so forth are just the beginning. There's enough. High dollar electronics in our cars that fission device busted at 10,000 feet. Cars fried. Your telephone towers and dial central offices destroyed. Your Alabama Power and the rest of the power throughout the U.S., Canada, even portions of South America. Relies heavily on the computer side for switching and making the network go. Our stock exchange is totally dependent on it. All our logistics, I'm talking about everything from Walmart to all the different data centers that we got up all over the world that we rely on.
Hospitals.
hospitals.
WBRC is on your side in every way.
We would truly be in the dark ages.
Download the WBRC streaming app. See what was that? Streaming
Back to neighbor killing neighbor to survive.
Yeah.
It's free. Find out what's going on in your community.
And the only ones left would be those who live out on a farm and got seed and know how to grow some food that they can eat, because
Hi everyone. If you've been injured in an accident, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by, and you can find out how much your case is.
you could even consider
Vernon Davis, so Vernon, tell
the food supply
calling right now.
Well, Jada, anyone who's been injured in an accident, give us a call right now and find out.
being burnt or destroyed from the
Thanks, Vernon.
hot flash that the weapon would produce.
Don't stop.
Thinking about tomorrow.
Mammals and people in the open
With Trustmark, you
could get destroyed by the heat,
and wherever you want. With online options to pay bills and friends,
but
make
those
deposits, and more. The freedom is yours today and tomorrow.
undercover would survive.
Trustmark. People you trust. Advice that works.
It would just be a
Hi everyone. We're about to remind you that we have legal professionals standing
hell of a
and you can
terrible
your case is potentially.
survival.
I'm here with Super Bowl champ Vernon Davis. Vernon, anything you want to add?
Starvation and
If you or someone you know were in an accident, give us a call right now. We have live agents available, and you'll find
the average person nowadays would not know how to live without electronics.
This
Nope.
opportunity, call now.
Be a whole lot of hunger and starvation for the few that were left, or for the ones that were left.
The role of the Supreme Court in an era of near unprecedented political division. Well, I sat down with Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett to discuss how she tunes out the court of public opinion and about her new book, Listening to the Law. Justice Barrett, great to have you with us on Fox News. It's great to be here, Shannon. I really enjoyed the book. I felt at times like I was in law school. That's a good thing. You can definitely see your part as a professor, as somebody who really wants to teach and make sure that